In this video, I'll tell you the most important step you need to take to protect yourself online. One of the main reasons for this video is the recent surge of VPN advertisement on YouTube. I do plan to make a debunk video on that soon. Long story short, a VPN doesn't protect you as the way you might think. This video will be divided in following sections. There will be time code if you'd rather skip. First, I'll tell you why you should listen to what I have to say. Then it will be the actual step, followed by why this is the most important step. Then a completely free way to protect yourself. Finally, some tips that you need to follow, else the whole process would be moot. That's it. So first, this is an argument from authority. I have been a computer programmer for over 30 years, starting in assembly language for Z80 processor. I remember DOS and all its variants like CP/MS-DOS and Apple-DOS. I have been around the block, so to speak, and this suggestion is a accumulation of all that experience. So without further ado, your most important step should be password management. Before you dislike or click off the video, just give me a minute to explain myself. Most of the hacks online are due to shitty programming at popular websites like LinkedIn. Instead of protecting their users' privacy, they take a very nonchalant approach to it. At times, they even store the password either in MD5 or worst, plain text. In all my coding, I have always used a one-way hash followed by a random unique salt over 10 iteration. I even made it standard in the company I was working to save any password. But if such precaution were not taken, if and when the site gets hacked, all the password with email address leaks into dark web. When you use the same password or variations of it on different websites, you're opening yourself to such attack. Suppose you're clever and your password is Lucky Horse. So at some website, you decide to use the number 0 instead of the letter O. Maybe you're an elite and replace E with a 3 and feel quite good about it. Guess what? Doesn't matter. We already have software that would use substitution based on normal behavior. I treat this threat above anything else. It's not the only precaution, mind you. If you'd ask me, I would add at least 2 more software on top of it. But this is the most dangerous. Without a firewall, you might have a malicious software stealing all your data or using your computer as an attack bot. Well, you shouldn't have any sensitive data unencrypted anyway. A virus or ransomware might completely mess up your operating system and destroy all your files. Well, backup much? But when your password is leaked and you repeat your password all over the net, all of a sudden you're open to all sorts of attack. From Amazon, eBay, one can find out your home address, your phone number. They might order a bunch of stuff, which then you need to deal with. When I don't care a hoot about the site, I would put in a password Rana UK. I have lost number of counts on how many times I got an email saying, if I recognize Rana UK, and that they know my password and have hacked me, and so on. Do you know what I do when I get such email? I laugh. Now, wouldn't you want to do the same? Storing password in browser is a bad idea, and that's bad in all capital. At the time of the script, which is 13th of June 2020, I'm using Chrome version 83.0.4103.97 64-bit. So this is the latest version. As Chrome has no such concept of master password, I can run a simple password sniffer and voila, I can get all password in plain text. Of course, this task could be performed by a malicious application rather than you. And then that data would be sent off to somewhere. Thankfully, Firefox does have the master password feature. Without that, I can run a sniffer as well. So what do? A password management system uses the master password concept. The idea is you only remember one really strong password, that's it. I honestly don't know my YouTube or Facebook password. No amount of waterboarding can get that data out of me. If the site allows me, I put a 16-character long password. This password is randomly generated. Finally, this and all other passwords are encrypted using my master password. So, what's wrong with passwords stored in browser, you might ask? Well, you are then tied to that one browser. What happens if you want to use a different browser for a particular site? How do you manage passwords for applications like Steam, Uplay, Origin and such? A good password management system, on top of all of that, would also let you save other sensitive data. And most importantly, it needs to be cross-platform. It needs to run on Windows, OS X, Linux, Apple and Android devices. Did I miss any? In my case, everything from my passport number, driver license, NI number to credit card numbers, everything is stored in the container protected by one master password. So now you know why, without any more ado, this video is sponsored by... Just kidding, this is not a paid promotion. My recommendation is completely free without any catch. But as I take you through my journey, all the software I mentioned, I purchased all those when applicable. It was too long ago to remember all. The earliest one I remember was a software called KeePass. I think that was at least 9 years ago. It's still going strong. That time it was only on Windows. Later there was a homebrew for OS X, but not on iOS. Then I settled on something called 1Password. It was supported on all the platforms including my iPhone. I purchased a 3-user lifetime license, but as it happens, 1Password then decided to release a new version with subscription model and didn't honor the lifetime license anymore. Why it's a big deal? Well, newer iOS stopped allowing older apps. 1Password at that time could have just recompiled and uploaded it. As a programmer, I can tell you that it would take less than 1 hour. Instead, they pulled their shitty act. Well, all the best 1Password. This is all the mention you'll get from me, ever. I needed a replacement. Then I came across NPass. It ticks all the boxes with browser extensions for all major browsers. Obviously, I bought the lifetime license. But as it happens, NPass then decides to make it free. Oh bloody hell. Ladies and gentlemen, this is my suggestion for you today. NPass. Quick understanding how it works in a full ecosystem. All your passwords are stored locally, protected with your master password. When you want to use NPass on another device, you need access to all these files and a way to sync them. So if you make a change in your phone or create new password, it would be available on your computer. Out of the box, NPass allows you to use OneDrive, Dropbox, Google Drive, iCloud, and even WebDAV for synchronization. If you feel really adventurous, you can even sync it with a folder. As for browser, NPass supports Firefox, Chrome, Safari, Edge, Opera, and something called Vivaldi. Don't ask. With the extension in place, it can autofill a web page or save credentials from browser. That's it. Use it to create and save different passwords for every site protected by one ring. Oh, oops, I meant one master password. Now the most important tip. A system is as secure as its user. If you choose a password like avocado or I love you, you deserve to get hacked. I can give a half-an-hour lecture on security and entropy. Well, in fact I have. Instead of boring you with that, I will show you one of my favorite clips from XKCD. Links in the description and highly recommended and addictive. Don't make a password that relates to you or anyone close to you. which means your date of birth, your pet dog's name, your childhood sweetheart, any of that. As a psychic would use worm reading from known details, hacker can also use known information to try variation on password. Rana didn't work? Well, how about followed by where he lives? Rana UK didn't work? Okay, how about followed by his date of birth? You get the point. Now, without getting much technical, well, longer is better?
That's what she said!
I know at times I would laugh at such concept and then spend the next 30 minutes using my oral prowess to prove my point. But in this case, it is true. Every character added to your password adds a magnitude of difficulty for brute force. Now suppose you create a password following all the common guidelines. So you include both lowercase and uppercase alphanumeric characters with symbols if permitted. You avoid character or word repetition, keyword pattern, letter number sequence or dictionary word, regardless of language. You don't use anything associated with you in any way. With all that in place, to crack AES 256 without any additional layer on a semi-fast computer, a 7 characters password ABCDEFG would take 0.29 milliseconds. An 8 character password ABCDEFGH would take 5 hours. A 9 characters password ABCDEFGHI would take 5 days. A 10 character password ABCDEFGHIJ would take 4 months. An 11 character password ABCDEFGHIJK would take a decade. A 12 characters password? Well, ABCDEFGHIJKL would take 2 centuries. Now those values are all relative to computing power, but you can see the magnitude it changes by. NPAS also uses the seed method that I mentioned earlier, where I'm quite happy with 10 rounds, as we were running it on a web server with great load. In NPAS case, it's running on your local system and hundreds of milliseconds of delay wouldn't matter. They are running it with 10,000 rounds. Jeez. Which means without the master password, it's next to impossible to get to the passwords. Given enough power and correct algorithm, any encryption can be broken, unless one-time keypad. It's just making sure it doesn't happen in your lifetime. So I would suggest at least 10 characters long password. Trust me, we have this thing called muscle learning. As you type your password more and more, the faster you will get. I can type in my 15 character password in less than 2 seconds. I wish I could touch type just as fast. As a fun story, well, I can't remember all the fact. I think it was related to Bitcoin wallet, and someone used a Swahili poem as passcode thinking it would be safe. Guess what? It wasn't. Important update. Damn. Wouldn't you know, once I have finished with the script, recording of the audio, finalize the video, and then wanted to ensure I have the correct URL for npas.io. Color me surprised. Things have changed in the last 1 year. And I'm not entirely correct anymore, and the new information does affect my rating a bit. First thing first, is it free? Like really free? Well, yes, but only for computers. For mobile devices, it allows up to 25 items on free version. Also, NPAS have moved into subscription-based system, but still have a one-time purchase option. Now, why the misunderstanding? Well, as I had purchased the Pro version years ago, when they moved to subscription, not only they honored my license, but also gave me the whole bundle, i.e., I didn't buy it on Android, but have the full version. So kudos to them for that. I have latest version running on all my devices with no issues. It still is super secure, and if you want to work with 25 items, you'd be fine with the free version on your mobile. The other trick you can use, but this is hypothetical as I haven't tried it. NPass allows you to create multiple vaults on full version, but allows access to only one in free mobile version. So I guess you can have two vaults, with one vault containing the major passwords and less than or equal to 25 items, and have that synchronized with your mobile device. That should work. Once again, sorry for this misunderstanding. Now, there is a super geeky thing I would like to talk about, but I understand that most of you may not be up for it. Well, TLDR, nothing for you to worry about. But if you do want to hear me talk about this geeky stuff, it will be at the end of this video. Well, that's all for this video. I hope you learned how important it is to protect your password and how to do it for free. I have linked NPass down in the description. Once again, I'm not getting paid by them in any way. This is from my own experience. If there is enough interest, I'll continue this series with more ways to ensure you're safe online for real. If you have liked this video, please give me a thumbs up and maybe leave me a comment to fit the YouTube algorithm. If you dislike the video, please give me a thumbs down and maybe take your time to tell me why in the comments below. You might find similar contents in my other videos. If you want to be notified about any future videos, subscribing would be a good idea. Well, that's all. Have a safe day. Kusaini. Super Geek Talk. So, there is a vulnerability in both Windows and Android version. As you listen to this portion, I assume you are quite computer savvy. This is akin to a side channel attack. On Windows, the hacker would need local access and get a simple memory dump of NPass process. The only catch is, this dump is only useful when NPass is unlocked. Like most security systems, it suffers the same vulnerability where it keeps data in plain text in memory. What can you do to mitigate it? Well, within NPass, ensure you have checked everything under auto lock with a very small time for idle. That would mean NPass would remain open for the least amount of time. Unfortunately, that's the best we have right now.